Hi everyone, welcome to my 2022 roundup. These are all my favourite things month by month that I've made. Believe it or not, that's not everything I've made. I've really tried hard to choose the things that I have absolutely loved not only making but wearing as well. Grab a cuppa, sit down and relax, and I will take you through my favourite patterns for 2022. My name's Kristen, if we haven't met before, and I have a channel here called the Dahlia Society. I live here in Australia, in Melbourne. I love gardening as well, so you will see plenty of beautiful flowers here on the channel, but I also love sewing, and I love encouraging people to sew their own wardrobe. I'm here for fabric and pattern inspiration, and usually have videos once to twice a week. I also have an online store that I sell fabric and also monthly bespoke boxes that have themes. So they will be released usually every second Sunday of the month. So this will be a long episode, but I think it's going to be great to take out the rest of the year. A lot of these things have got to do with the pattern, not only the patterns themselves, but maybe the fabric as well, things that have really caught my eye. But before I get going on that, I have got a brand new make on here today. This is a very favourite pattern of mine. It's the Pattern Emporium Ocean Days oversized shirt. I made one of these in green back in the start of December, and this is in this beautiful strawberry daiquiri viscose linen blend that I have in the online store. There is a little bit of this colour left, but I think the pink is so nice and vibrant, and I'm wearing it with my erstwhile Major Mitchell cockatoo earrings or galah. Major Mitchells are a variety of galah, but they're only in certain parts of Australia. And I absolutely love the beautiful way they've used a lot of the native birds in their jewellery selection. And I thought, what better way to pair it with this bright, vibrant pink shirt. So let's get started. Firstly, for January, I had a couple of things on my list. One was to make a plain little black dress, and I wanted to make it in linen rayon blend. And I actually ended up making a dress that was on my list for quite some time, and it was the Pattern Scout Ava dress. Very simple, very long line with side splits. It ended up being a beautiful dress, and the thing I love about it is it had the elastic waistband, which was on the back and on the side, so it kind of went through a channel around the back, and it met up at the front in a flat kind of piece, so you haven't got any elasticy bunching at the front, which was really lovely and flattering, gave you a beautiful shape. I love the neckline. The fact is that you can either stitch down that kind of crossover faux wrap facings, or you can leave it as is and maybe put a little pin at the front there. But I really love the style lines, and I think that Casey from Pattern Scout did a wonderful job with this dress because it's not gapey over the arms. It fits really nicely, and you can make it in the short, midi or long length. And I just love a good long length dress in that straight long line with the side splits for ease of movement, especially when you don't have any issues with fitting because of that elastic waist. That was another thing on my list because I didn't want to be doing zips and buttons, but I wanted that nice sleek look. So the Pattern Scout Ava is definitely one of my favourite all-time dresses in the wardrobe, and I must admit this year I found myself really enjoying plain solid colours to mix back with through all my prints, because that was what I was missing from the wardrobe from the year before. I just had a mass of different prints and patterns and felt that I had too much chaos going on in the wardrobe, but I needed to streamline it a little bit more. So I'm heading down the right path for 2023. And I think that now I know exactly what I'm after in the wardrobe, what basics I need. It's set me on the right path. So that was the wonderful Pattern Scout Ava dress. And I think I made that just in a straight size 14, which was great. The other thing I made in January, and I don't know if I took any pics of this, but it's one of my favourite skirts now, and now that I've made it, I want to make more. It is the Style Arc Sorrento skirt, and I really love the simplicity of just a good leopard print. I think it goes back with so much in the wardrobe, and I have worn this through winter and all seasons as well as summer because it's a great basic. It looks beautiful with a pair of black boots and a little crop black biker, black jacket. But for summer, I love it with a plain little black tank or tee. So that is the beautiful Sorrento skirt. It has a double kind of layered frill around the bottom. It looks complicated, but it's a really easy make. It has a nice thick wide elastic waistband, which I love. I love a good elastic waist skirt without all that gathering and bunching around the waist. With that beautiful featured frill around the bottom, I think it's a real standout skirt. Now, my other two favourite makes from January were the Pattern Fantastic Celestial Dress pattern. Now, I made 3 versions of this, and of course one is in the wash. I only wore it yesterday. I love wearing this dress. That was the Aboriginal print, like a lilac print, really long line and really drapey with that lovely sort of faced armhole. It sort of juts out just a tiny bit, but it's nice and fitted through the bodice and gives that beautiful kind of A-lined floatiness. I love that dress. It's so nice for a hot day. The other version I made was in a linen, which is a beautiful jade color linen, and that one had the different option bodice that you'll find like an apron style. It's quite cut out, so you do need to wear a bra that you can bring in a little bit, whether it's a T-bar style bra or even a strapless, but that is a really lovely design, and it's actually like a pinny kind of style that you could quite easily wear layered for winter as well. Definitely over a long sleeve top would be a great pattern, but I really love Pattern Fantastic's dresses, especially their summer dresses. There's quite a few summer dresses that I really love the look of. One of their new ones is an absolutely stunning style, but that's what I'm thinking about making in the future. But I know her patterns, they're always beautifully designed and beautifully drafted. They can have a little bit on them more of a complicated style of instructions. And I know with the Varley dress, for example, that one is one of my favourite style patterns. It is a little bit more complicated in the instructions. So I think it's one of those patterns that when you're making it, you can do a lot of head scratching. And when you get to the end, it's just such a beautiful style and fit on the body. It is well worth making one of her patterns. So that is the Pattern Fantastic Celestial Dress. How beautiful are these hydrangeas? I think I showed you guys last week that the white was what I planted last year, and they turned pink this year, and it can depend on the soil type. But the weird thing is that they're both planted in the same soil because they're both in pots. One turned pink and one didn't. But that colour matches this top just so perfectly. So I needed to tell you they are definitely real. Someone's asked me before if they're real or not. They are real, and they are really blooming and looking beautiful this time of year. So yeah, I love having these hydrangeas everywhere. I could go mad on them. It's probably my second favourite flower after the dahlias. And the dahlias are actually starting to erupt at the moment, so I can't wait to show you some footage when they all start blooming very soon. So let's move on to February. Had to move a bit out of the sunshine, bit of glare there. The next pattern I want to talk about was from February, was the amazing Pattern Emporium Field of Dreams dress. Now this dress has so many options. You can really do just about any style dress that you're after. The one I love, of course, is the long maxi length one with a beautiful sweetheart neck and the elastic across the back just to bring in the shaping there. And I put some beautiful lace trim on there. You can see there it's just added a little bit of a detail, and I'll put a little flutter sleeve on too. And it's really one of my more special makes in the wardrobe, I think, just from those added details. But the Field of Dreams dress, you can make the apron style top. You can make it in a top or a pinny style. You can also do the button front square neckline, more of a vintage feel as well. You can do so many options with that. So it's a fantastic all-rounded dress with so many different variations there. So that was one of my favourite dresses from February. The other favourite make from Feb was, of course, a Fibremood make called the Hortense dress or blouse. I made it in a really pretty black viscose lurex that I'd had sitting in the stash for quite some time, and I actually loved this so much. It really reinvigorated my love for having some black things in the wardrobe, because I find that I have so much colour. I'm all about colour, but I really feel that some good black basics are what I needed. And it's just such a classic style blouse. It actually looks more complicated than it is to make, and once you've started to do a bit of shirring, you'll find that it's actually quite easy to do. It's just a matter of doing rows and rows of shirring across the bodice. Make sure you cut it out properly. Look at the instructions, because I think the first time I cut it out, I don't know what I did wrong. I did something wrong, but then I recut it and realised that I'd cut it too small. It looks oversized on the bodice, and that's because you need to just sort of shrink it in with the shirring, and also around the cuffs. and it brings it in really nicely. But that one is so pretty. I really love to make it in the dress as well. And the neckline isn't as high as what you might think, because I find that I can't wear anything too restrictive around the neck. But that one is a beautiful blouse, and it really also sort of intrigued me a bit as far as Fibremood patterns. I've always really liked their patterns, but now I found that I really enjoy making their patterns because I find them to be very wearable, very on trend, but also comfortable, easy kind of makes to make. They have got more complicated makes, but their aesthetic is really what I love in the wardrobe. And you'll see there's quite a few Fibremood makes that are favourites of mine for 2022. March was all about doing some pattern testing for itch to stitch patterns. I made the Sovana dress, and of course fell in love with the simplicity of a nice deep V dress, fit and flare shape. And the thing that I loved about this dress was that beautiful faced bodice. Everything sat really nicely and just looked so classic and really wearable. But a good fit and flare dress in a knit fabric is what everyone needs in the wardrobe. And I made it from this really lovely cobalt blue crepe jersey fabric, which I'd had in my stash for a while, and I've been saving it for the right dress. And I really think this is just such a special, simple dress with that long sleeve, but I made a sleeveless version as well, that you could quite easily wear it like a pinafore with a nice belt. And I've made it in just below the knee length. So normally I go for everything midi or long line, but it's a sort of good classic to have in the wardrobe that you'll find you reach for time and time again, especially in a nice bold bright color like this blue. Now April was our first month, our first bespoke box ever release, and it was the Art Nouveau release, and I found this most beautiful viscose fabric, and I made the Romy by Pattern Scout. Again, another Pattern Scout pattern. Love this one. It has a beautiful yoke in the back. It's a wrap style, so it's got a really lovely shape across the bodice. A nice little peplum on this blouse, but definitely the dress would be a stunning one on. And that Art Deco fabric really set it off beautifully. And I added a nice feature of a little white Art Deco button on there as well. But definitely could see that in a nice summery floaty dress. So definitely think about making the Romy. It's a great pattern. One that I'd had in the pattern stash for quite a while, but hadn't made, and I really wanted to make it with the leftover linen rayon blend that I had from the Ava dress, because I bought quite a bit of that. I wanted to make the named Varlo dress because I had this beautiful piece of linen silk blend. I think it really set it off beautiful because I wanted to make that the feature. And having that yoke sweetheart style, it allows you to do something a little bit more special. So if you've got a nice, bright, vibrant fabric, or maybe even a stripe or a polka dot, you can put it back with the black. But I've also seen some great pattern mix and matching. You can definitely think about doing the dress part in a stripe and the top in a floral or gingham. It really allows you to be quite creative. But it was quite a simple make, and I decided to leave my elastic out of the waist. I think Gabrielle from Cloth Edit made one as well and did the same thing, because we both felt that sometimes elastic around the waist in a casing can ride up and down and you can't quite get that perfect spot. So we both left our elastic out, and I really love the way it came up. It's got a really lovely shape, and I really love the way that you do the sleeve and bodice with that separate bit along the shoulder. You could do so much with that and be really creative. And I added on a tie, which I added the last little pieces of the linen silk blend just to set that off as well. So that was my Easter dress. But yeah, definitely could make a top version out of that Varlo dress as well. And named patterns are always really, really lovely patterns to make. Another standout surprise for me was another Fibremood pattern, which was in a release that I did. When they do a release, I get invited to make one of their patterns. I really love this Fibremood Wanda. Now you can make this in a dress or a top. I love the fact that it's got that lace-up detail, so you can actually use your fabric, or you can put like a leather tie or a cord or something in. You've got little rivets to do, which were quite easy to do. And now that I've got that Prim Vario set of pliers, I'll find that really easy to do for next time. But the thing I love the most about this, not just this beautiful fabric, but the sleeve detail. It has this really unusual sleeve pleating, so you don't have gathering on the shoulder head like you do with normally with a puff sleeve. You've got quite a lot of pleating to do, and it gives that a really beautiful like 3D kind of really puffs out lovely and gives us such a beautiful shape. So it's one of the more beautiful sleeves that I've ever seen, and I actually really would love to make another one of these, maybe in the dress version. And if I made it next time in a plain, I think you would really see those details in the star lines. So that is the Fibremood Wanda. And as you can see, a lot of Fibremood patterns are popping up here. They've been one of my favourite pattern companies this year to sew with. Now, the next pattern was from May, and it was in the bespoke box, which was Harvest Moon. And I used this beautiful cotton slub madras check, stunning colours in this Dahlia shirt pattern, and it is a great pattern because you can make it in a shirt dress. You've got so many different options for sleeves, you've got pocket options, you've got options without the pockets, you've got different collar options, Mandarin style collar as well. And I actually opted to do just the sleeve with the elastic casing because it's just nice and simple, and I find it's great to roll up, but you can do your cuffs as well. But really love how that came up, and I know a lot of people love this fabric so much, so I had to end up getting some more of it, and I was very lucky to do that because normally with box fabrics I can't always get more, but that was quite a popular fabric, and it was a little bit of a risk for me because I wasn't sure. A lot of people love gingham and check, and a lot of people aren't so keen, so I think it's one of those things that the colour overall is what really grabbed everyone, those nice rich tones of greens and the burgundies, pinks, and the little green groove buttons as well really set it off nicely. So that was the Harvest Moon Dahlia shirt from May. And June was another very busy month for me. I was working on a nice red coat that I wanted for my 50th birthday, which was in July, and I decided to come up with one of my favourite coat patterns I'd made in the past. It was from the Sewing Revival, and it's the mallard coat. I found this beautiful red scarlet wool blend that I wanted to make fully lined, and I added in this really nice red silky lining. I used the Arrow Mountain gorgeous confetti style buttons on there to set it off, a nice little tag, sewing seams and chasing dreams, and love this coat. And I actually made it a bit too big, before I lined it, decided to cut it down a bit, so I ended up making the 12 because I found the 14 was just too big around the shoulders. I've got some nice shoulder pads in to give it some definition as well. But really love that red coat. It's perfect on me. I tweaked the sleeves as well. That were quite long. I always have an issue with sleeves being long on coats and jackets. So kind of tailored it to make it my jacket. And that's a great thing about sewing is you can do that. You can tailor things that you might find hard to fit in store when you go looking for a coat, for example. I always find that I need a bit more room around the middle and less room around the shoulders, so you can't always do that when you go and buy a coat off the rack. And the great thing about sewing your own coat is that you can do that. So I think I went for a 12 around the top, 14 around the middle, and shortened the sleeves, and it was just perfect on me. So I really love that one. And I decided to leave the collar off because it has got different collar options. You've got the stand-up collar option, you've got your round collar option. I decided to leave it off and have it more simple. So that is the Sewing Revival mallard coat from June. The other make, which was in the July bespoke box, which is Moulin Rouge, I actually made this back in June, was a favourite pattern of mine from Dorada Davies over in the UK, and it's the olive skirt pattern. Now this looked stunning in this Moulin Rouge viscose twill. It's a high-low frill around the bottom. It's got a really lovely style skirt that has no bulk and no gathering, even though it's elastic waist. You can go for the pockets or leave the pockets out, but I do love Dorada Davies pockets. I find them to sit nice and flat and neat. So that was such a beautiful skirt on, and I actually wore that lots with just a black turtleneck or a little black biker jacket and some black boots, but you could definitely wear that for summer as well. And of course the big 50th that I had in July, well, it wasn't really big 50th, it was a big 50th for me, but we had a small family gathering and I wanted to make something really special. I wanted to make it from this beautiful Fabric Godmother viscose starry tiger patch fabric that I just fell in love with. And of course this is no longer in the online store. I think a lot of you after seeing this decided it was a very special fabric as well. And I wanted to make sure it was something that I'd made before, so I was confident in making the pattern. Also wanted it to be comfortable and floaty, but something I could definitely wear again, so not too restrictive. So I went for the Maya Sodus by Deer and Doe patterns, and I'd made it before and really loved it. And I put these beautiful little crystally love heart buttons. I think it really set it off nicely. I ended up lining the dress, but took the lining out of the skirt because I felt it gave too much bulk around the waist, so I just left the top half lined. But I don't think I really needed to line it. I think looking back now, it just made it a bit more complicated, and I really could have left it just nice and simple and unlined. But I thought the shoulder pads added a nice bit of structure to it. Really happy with that one. I love the tie back option as well. I'd made one before in this dress with a hacked bishop sleeve, but this time I left the sleeve as per the pattern and just put that nice frill around the bottom. But the fabric sits nice and drapey and soft. And it's definitely one that I will be keeping in the wardrobe and wearing throughout the year. You can wear it with tights for winter or leggings. Definitely something that's stand out and special, and I felt that those jewel and bright vibrant colours in the suns and a bit of lurex really made it quite special for a party dress. Now back in August I decided to make a paper cut pattern because I think Erin from Loudly Positive approached me on Instagram and said let's try and do a bit of a fundraising style thing for the lovely Kate from Paper Cut Patterns, who is battling breast cancer, and we wanted to try and invite everyone to purchase a digital pattern from Paper Cut Patterns, just to try and help and make things a bit easier for Kate. And I know a lot of you went on to purchase patterns, and that was fantastic. It's great that we can all come together as a sewing community and do things like that for people. This pattern has been so loved on the internet for such a long time, and you can see why. It's a beautifully drafted pattern. It is very oversized. It reminds me of origami, just the way it's sort of a modern looking fit jacket. It has the most beautiful style lines, and the way the pockets are drafted and the sleeves, it is just a standout. So you can really see why it's been such a popular pattern. The Nova coat is just so popular. It was the Sapporo coat previously, but they changed the name to the Nova coat. But really love how it came up. I use this beautiful rose quartz wool blend, like a boucle wool blend that was in my online store, and I fell in love with this. I sized down. I think I made, it goes from 1 to 8 I think sizes, but I think I made a size 4 from memory, and I think I wrote down in my Instagram post the size that I made, and it is really roomy. So definitely if you don't want to overly roomy, think about sizing down or making a 12 even, just to get that fit right. But love how it came up. Definitely is one of my all-time favorite coats. I love the fact that it gives a kind of modern casual vibe, but you can quite easily dress it up, and it looks perfect with a pair of jeans. But love it in this pink as well. Definitely a favorite coat of mine that I will not be parting with. And I love the fact that, you know, having that lined as well makes it more special to keep in the wardrobe, to wear year after year. And that one I've got the Sparks Joy tag on there. So love, love, love the Nova coat. The other pattern from August was the Pattern Emporium Fit and Flare release. This one I did with the Hello Gorgeous puff sleeve because I love that, and I made it from this beautiful sort of aquamarine colour, the Azure Mermaid, I think it was, Ponte, that's was in my store at the time, and I love this dress. It is such a classic, simple fit and flare is perfect. You need one of these in the wardrobe. You can do various different necklines. I went for the higher neckline, but definitely think about making one of these if you want a nice, simple fit and flare. Definitely a sleeveless would be great for summertime as well here in Australia, but I love that pattern. It's one of my favourites, and again, it's a solid colour. Now, a couple of things from September. This fabric was actually a beautiful pattern from Nerida Hansen. It's a French terry. It has a beautiful, almost Marimekko looking vibe to it, this fabric. I really, really loved it. And I bought a couple of meters, and I was going to just make a sweater with it, and I thought it's just too, I don't know, it's too nice just to be just a sweater to wear at home. I wanted to make it so I could wear it out. And being that French terry, it's kind of light enough and warm enough that you could wear it as a dress. So I did a bit of looking around and wanted a dress that would not break up the pattern. So I didn't want anything with gathers. I wanted nice and simple A-line style. So I went for the Tessuti Frankie dress. And of course, I'd made the top before in the past. Love the lines of it. It's quite fitted around the bust and it flares out really nicely. So I made it in almost a midi style length, and I've got to say I've worn it heaps. I've worn it with little Converse trainers. I've also worn it with boots, like tan boots for winter, and tights. And I think having that sleeve, that mid-length sleeve, allows you to be able to wear it all year round as well. So it's a great pattern if you've got a nice print that you don't want to break up and you want to show it off. That is the Tessuti Frankie dress. Being knit is nice and comfortable and stretchy and easy to wear. The other two patterns for September, this one was from the Secret Garden Bespoke box, and this is another pattern, scout pattern. It's the Poppy blouse, which was newly released pattern for 2022. It's a beautiful style blouse, has a lovely boho effect with the ties and that little frill around the neck, and that fabric was such a popular fabric. It's a really pretty jade green with almost a painterly look to it. And I decided to make the dress version, so I extended it into a dress, and it's easily done in this beautiful burnout cotton black fabric as well. So that one, yeah, as I say, you can easily make it into a dress or a blouse, whatever you wish, but really love the way the neckline looks on that one. And the sleeve has got a nice little binding around the bottom, but just a nice little mid-puff sleeve. I added on some ties on the waist to draw in the skirt as well for that. So that was September. October was another busy month. I was starting to see that the summer season was approaching and really wanted to make some nice warm weather inspired things. The first thing I made was the Sinclair Patterns Zoe t-shirt dress, because I had this beautiful Stoff Hummingbrd print fabric that I still have in the store. I've got quite a few Stoff prints still left, and I have got more coming hopefully for the autumn season because they were so popular. Not only the prints but the beautiful quality of the cotton jersey. It is so soft and lovely to wear. So I had a cut of that and I was going to make a t-shirt, and I thought, no, I've got too much fabric here, I don't want to waste any of that. So I decided to make the Zoe t-shirt dress with that drawstring waist, and I lengthened it into a midi length and put the little side splits, and I really love wearing it. It's probably one of my most worn makes so far this year. But really love the print, and I could definitely recommend the Zoe if you haven't made the Zoe t-shirt dress. It's nice and simple. Feels like you're wearing almost like a secret nightie, but you're wearing a t-shirt that's lengthened into a really stunning looking dress with that bit of waist definition in the drawstring casing. I think it's a winner for me, that one. Now the next pattern was a favourite of mine, another Fibremood pattern. It's the Viva blouse. Now you can make this in a dress as well, but I had this beautiful cut of Lise Taylor birdie fabric, and I've recently restocked that in the store as well because a lot of you are loving the Lise Taylor fabrics all the way from France. They're really beautiful quality viscoses, but the print in that is just so beautiful, and I've worn that heaps as well. I lengthened it into a long tunic style blouse. It's great over a pair of jeans, and I love the way the back sits a little bit lower, hasn't got the gathering, just the front piece has the gathering, so it's not too voluminous, but it's nice and easy to wear and soft. The next was a pattern release from Pattern Emporium, and this was the Take the Chance shirt dress. Now the great thing about this is that you've got the option to wear the button through style, which is what I did with the skirt, or you can just do the button through bodice and have the skirt just gathered and stitched up, so no buttoning through the waist needed there. But it really depends on how you want to wear it. I like it without too much gathering, so I found that the button through had less gathering around the middle and it's a bit more flattering on the body for me. But love the collar. I did the short sleeve, and this looked really nice, kind of a vintage inspired look with the green belt that I had. And this is a beautiful crepe de chine fabric. It has a really lovely retro vibe to it. So that is another fantastic Pattern Emporium pattern. And I found these little buttons in a vintage store in Echuca. I love looking through haberdashery sections of old vintage style stores because you can usually always find old patterns or old buttons in there. So definitely worth rummaging around looking for those little treasures. November, of course, was an incredibly busy month. Gabrielle from Clothette and myself hosted the Sew Wrapped Challenge, and we had so many people enter that, and it was amazing over on Instagram. Definitely still look up that Sew Wrapped hashtag, and you'll see every single entrant there that put in an incredible dress or top, or even robes. We decided to get in on the spirit and to make some things as well. One of my favourite makes from the month, the first one I made was the Starlark Millicent wrap dress. It's a beautiful wrap dress because there's not a lot of volume to it. It's quite neat, although the skirt is like an A-line shape and it has a tie waist. But I really loved the style of it, and the thing I loved about this was the sleeve. You've got that lantern style sleeve with that kind of a seam around the bottom. It really gives that nice 3D effect. This was from a linen viscose blend that I had in the online store. It's such a pretty fabric. Millicent dress, I think, is definitely a winner. I love the print, the pansies. It's just so So pretty. And it really gives a lovely shape to the body. I think I made a 16 in that one with a 14 around the shoulders. As I say, it's not overly a roomy dress. It's quite neat fitting. So definitely think about making a 12 if you're looking at that one. Next wrap dress was one of my all-time favourite makes, I think, for this year. It has to be the Cashmerette Roseclair dress. And I used the beautiful Madame Iris prints that I mixed and matched. And I decided to make it with all the prints because I thought it the perfect opportunity when you've got a layered style tiered skirt to use different prints, and they all were in a collection. So I think it just, when you have a collection by the same designer and you know it's all going to match perfectly, it makes the job really easy for doing it makes the job really easy for doing print mixing, because that is a really hard thing to do properly. Sometimes unless you get the right scale of prints, it doesn't look quite right, and I've done it in the past and it hasn't worked that well. But I actually made up a Pinterest board that a lot of you can easily access to see different print mixing to give you some inspiration. That's exactly what I did. I found it really helped me. The little fabric nerd label matches really nicely, but that Madame Iris fabric is just so pretty. There is still a bit of that in the store. I think the blue Batil one has sold out, but the other ones are still there. And it's such a beautiful autumnal looking dress. I really thought it might make a beautiful dress for heading into the autumn season in those kinds of colours, but really love the Roseclair, and the fit of course is magnificent. The great thing about Cashmerette patterns is you do have cup sizes and you can grade in and out with sizes. So I went for the 14 around the shoulders and 16 around the middle, and it was spot on perfect for me. So can highly recommend the Roseclair. I do have those patterns in the store as well. I think they have been one of my most popular patterns, paper patterns sold this year. And you can see why, because it's just such an amazing fit on when you can get the bust line to fit so well around the waist. And the thing I think that is great about the Roseclair is that it hasn't got gathering around the middle. So you've got that really nice, neat fit around the waist and hips, and then it flares out to that tiered kind of mid and bottom length layers. So it's such a lovely shape, and you can see why it's been so popular. And the other wrap make that I made was from this beautiful fabric, Lady McElroy Faraway tree fabric, which I do still have some in the store. It has been selling really well, so I'm not sure how long that will last, but I wanted to make something to show off that big scale print. It's not sold as in panels, but it has got quite a large picturesque image on the fabric. And I thought the way to show it off perfectly would be to make a robe. And I thought, well, it's still wrap. So the Veronic robe from Closet Core Patterns was what I made. And I've got to say, I have worn that to death. I've not only worn it just, popping over nighty in the morning have a coffee with, but I've also worn it over bathers for being near the pool. And it's a really great thing. You can pop over even with a pair of jeans and a top if you want to wear it as like a duster length jacket. And she has got different options in that Closet Core pattern to do just the jacket version or the kimono wrap version, so you can really do either or either. But love this fabric. As soon as I saw this, I thought it has to be mine. I need to make one of these. And being that kind of reminiscent Faraway tree, the Enid Blyton novel, I just thought, right, it needs to be mine, because that was one of my favourite stories as a child. So love it. I love wearing this robe, and definitely can see more of those Veronic robes in the future in the wardrobe. My final 3 favourite makes of 2022 for December. That was an incredibly busy month, because not only did we have boxes to get out, we had a huge amount of sales to wrap up for Christmas. But I really still wanted to give you guys some inspiration, because I love sewing for Christmas and for that, that season, and also for the party season here in Australia, especially around summertime. We do a lot of barbecues and going out. So I wanted to make some nice floaty summery frocks. So the one on my list was definitely in this Maison Bloom fabric, which is a beautiful French fabric that I still have a little bit left of this. And of course, the lovely Melanie from France has actually been asking me, do I want to get more in? And yes, definitely yes, because it has sold so well. I think you guys are loving that designer style fabric. When I saw this, I thought such a beautiful big placement print, this Amy viscose, would be beautiful in the Charlie caftan by Closet Core Patterns. I made one of these about 3 years ago, and I don't know why I haven't made more because it's such a stunning style on. You've got the versatility that you can wear it tied at the back to bring the waist in as well. But yeah, it's just such a nice dress to make. It feels fantastic. I'm going to be having an episode all about my favourite caftan patterns very shortly, hopefully next week, and all about the origins of where caftans came from and how they became really fashionable. But that one is just such a beautiful dress, and I wore it out to the city. I've worn it quite a bit already because it's nice and cool and floaty, but very easy to dress up or down, and that's the type of thing I like in a summer wardrobe, that I can quite easily put a different pair of shoes on and dress it up, or have it just simple and just for around the house with some flat shoes on. So love the Closet Core Charlie. The other one was the pattern release from Pattern Emporium, which is the first week of December, and that was the all-in easy fit shirt. That was the same week that we released, she released a pattern of the oversized Ocean Day. She also released the all-in easy fit shirt. I made the dress version hack. I put the Meet You There puff sleeve on, and I did the easy plain collar, and I made a tie as well, and that one was in that beautiful Rachel Parker Dashwood Studio rayon, and I love this blue and green print together. It's one of my favourite dresses, and the simplicity of a shirt dress just means that you can easily wear it dressed up with the tie belt, or you can wear it open over a pair of jeans and a tank top for like a duster style jacket. And yeah, really, really happy with how that came up. It's a fantastic pattern, as are the shirt style versions. The last make of the year, well, no, this is the last make of the year, but the second last make of the year was my Christmas Day dress. Now, you may notice that it looks a bit different than it did the other day, and that is because the lace has gone, and that was not on purpose. That was because I actually washed it, and I was very sneaky because I was in such a huge rush for Christmas Day that I glued the fabric on with some fabric glue, and I thought, I'll stitch it down later on when I have more time. I'll hand stitch it all on, and I didn't. I actually popped it in the wash on a very, very gentle, cool cycle. Of course, the lace all just pulled off, but I've got it all there ready to stitch on again. But the only thing is, I found that it looks so stunning with the fabric Godmother Astra Viscose, but the lace was quite prickly around the sleeve where it was sort of, that little bit hanging over the edge. So I think if I put it on again, I probably would stitch it up a little bit higher so it's not going to sort of prickle my arms. But definitely I would like to put the lace on again, but whether it may be more wearable without the lace, I might wear it more just as a dress from day to day. But I really love the feature that the lace gave the dress, so I think I will be putting it back on when I have more time, of course, to stitch it. That few days before Christmas was incredibly busy, and I did not have time. And this, of course, was another Viva dress that was the same as that birdie print, Elise Taylor fabric. This was in the dress version, and I really love this pattern. I've got to say, I am almost thinking of maybe having a membership for Fibremood magazine, because I love their pattern so much, but I am really lazy and I don't like tracing. So I'm thinking whether I get the digital version only, it could be a good way to go, because I tend to be reaching for those Fibremood patterns again and again. As I say, I love the aesthetic and the wearability, but just how modern and on trend they are. I really love their patterns, and I find the patterns are great. Instructions are fantastic, and the fit's always really nice. A quite generous fit. That was a large. So that may be something I'll be looking to in the future. I already have the Cashmerette Access, the patterns that come out every month. I really like that. I find it great value for money, but I'm thinking whether to get the Fibremood digital could be the way to go, but we'll have to wait and see. So thank you again for being such amazing viewers. The whole of 2022, I've had so many beautiful people watching every week and commenting, and I really, really value you guys keeping me going, keeping me motivated. And also I love it when I hear people say that I've helped to reinvigorate their love of sewing again. Maybe you've been stuck in a rut and lost your Sojo for many years, or you might have learnt to sew when you were younger, and you've only recently found that you are really enjoying getting back into the sewing again. So it's just such a nice feeling to think that I'm encouraging people to sew just through my love of sewing as well. So I find that just a wonderful motivator for me to keep bringing you guys more and more content. So this year I'm going to have lots more episodes coming out with a bit of a different tweak on things. I'm going to be trying to show you guys a bit of history behind certain things as well. I think a lot of people really enjoy hearing about why certain things are in vogue and when they did become fashionable. I find that kind of thing really intriguing as well. But, you know, as far as historical sewing, I am definitely, that's way out of my league. I'm not going to delve too much into that. But maybe things that were out maybe from the 50s onwards, things that have come into vogue, I find that really fascinating. Just to hear about the people that first designed them and how they got them to be mainstream high street fashion, that kind of thing. So that to me is really interesting stuff. So as well as that, I'll be having my usual makes each month and also the bespoke box themes. I think you guys are really loving seeing unboxings. I have got an unboxing coming for the December box. Of course, a lot of people missed that because I was unwell. I had COVID and didn't get to do a proper unboxing, but I will be showing you what I made from that box with the fabric as well as the contents of the box. And there are quite a few YouTube vloggers that are showing unboxing here in Australia, which is fantastic. So thank you so much for the support for that, you guys. I always find it beautiful to watch someone unboxing something I put together. So it feels like Christmas Day to me all over and over again. I hope you got lots of sewing done in 2022, and I'd love to hear about your favourite makes as well as what you've loved here, seeing what I've made. What was your favourite make for 2022 from what I've made? Please write in the comments below, and we'll see you back here for 2023. Have a happy new year. See you soon. Bye for now.